is made up of two 40-foot diameter domes, each that are 1,256 square feet apiece. Whenever you put those two domes together plus the middle piece, and they have a small loft, it's about a 2,700 square foot home.
So it's a lot bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside.
Yes, it is. They have a nice large dining room, and then they have this nice wide walk-through kitchen. And as you can see, this wall that just separates the kitchen from the living room does not go all the way to the ceiling. And that's one of the great things about domes and how they differ from traditional houses, is that when you build a traditional home, the interior walls have to be constructed before you put the roof on because they support the roof. It's the opposite in a monolithic dome. The shell is the roof. Therefore, if you don't want any interior walls, you don't have to have them. And like here, this wall was built just to separate the kitchen from the living room. It doesn't go all the way to the ceiling, so it allows for more openness, more airflow, and that sort of thing. And what we suggest is whenever you build a home, that you build it in the shape of an oblate ellipse rather than a half sphere. So if you were to take a perfect circle and cut it in half, you would have a half sphere. If you do an oblate ellipse and cut it in half, what happens is the curve starts higher on the wall. Therefore, a 6-foot-tall person can stand against the wall, and you can place taller furniture against the wall and that sort of thing. If you have a half sphere, the curve is going to start lower to the wall, and therefore you lose a little bit of usage of that square footage. Guest bath.
And the plumbing is in the floor rather than in the dome, so...
Yes, it's stubbed up in the foundation just like a traditional home.
Oh, that's a cute bathroom.
So is there any issues with getting to plumbing should you break pipes or anything underneath?
It would be the same in the floor as a traditional home, but then the plumbing is sometimes in the walls, so it would be exactly the same as a traditional home.
Okay.
And then here's the pantry. If you go in and go around the corner, you can see it's very roomy.
So you can hear very easily from the living room how the acoustics end up bouncing right back down to the kitchen.
Loft. It's being used for guests right now, so that's why the material is draped over the edge for a little privacy. They do have a nice sitting area right here in this dome, and then they have, it's like I said, it's a 5-bedroom home, but you can configure them anyway, an exercise room, an office, and that's what this is. This is a bedroom or office, and right now it's being used as an office. Here's the second bathroom. And here's one of the bedrooms. You're welcome to go in there.
So it's nice and big. But I think you can walk next to any of these walls and have plenty of headroom. I mean, you could walk all the way over to the window and not bump your head. Okay, can you shut the door, honey? Thank you.
My home was a stick home, and it's half the size of this, and his bill is half as much as mine.
Wow.
So it's 50 to 75% savings on energy.
And it has to do with the foam?
The foam and the concrete on the inside. The concrete acts as a thermal battery, so it stores heat and cool. In the summer it stores cool because concrete gets cold, and then it heats up when it's heated, and it exudes that heat back out into the room, so it doesn't, your air conditioner doesn't cut off or on and off as often.
Okay. And so the ones back over our right shoulders are the rentals?
Yeah, those are rentals. We have another complex on Highway 77, and we have different size rentals. Some of the smaller ones are like $75 a week or $80 a week, depending on what size you want. But they're all bills paid.
What is the going rate around here for rentals then? That's pretty inexpensive.
Waxahachie, a one-bedroom apartment, a decent apartment is going to rent for $700 or $800 a month. If you get a two-bedroom, it's going to be about $1,100 to $1,200 a month.
Whoa. And then you guys rent out or sell the protective gear for?
We sell it.
And then you have all the books that go with, if this is what you're designing, this is what you can use it for. And then do people set it up themselves doing it, or do they hire you and you bring your equipment?
Either or. We teach people how to build these 2 times a year. We have workshops. We have one in April and we have one in September. And it's a 4.5-day class. It's classroom and then hands-on and building of a dome to teach others how to build them so you can build your own, or we will come build it for you. And we typically only build the shell. The customer finds a general contractor to do the finish out of the interior.
And what is the cost for the course?
The course it depends on when you sign up. It's either $1,800 or $1,900 if you sign up early, and then of course as time goes on, if you get within 30 days of the class, it goes up to like $2,000, and then if you can pay at the door, and I think it's like $2,200 or $2,400 for the class.
Cool. And is there lodging, or do you find lodging? And
our website about the workshop has all of the information about lodging. In fact, it lists every hotel within a 20-mile radius of this building.
Good deal.
Which website is?
Monolithic.org.
And what difference does it make putting a lot of really big windows in as far as its resistance to tornadoes and earthquakes? Would you just kind of say, if you live in a tornado alley, if you live in a hurricane-prone space, don't put in too big windows?
You notice my house?
Mm-hmm.
You see these windows? You can look out at the pond. There's none of them more than 3 foot wide. And that's because a 3 foot wide window is 10 times as strong as a 5 foot wide window. The school superintendents talk to each other. And one of them says, I save 75% on my power bill. The other one says, wow. That would give me 3% increase in all the teachers' pay. Another one says, wow, that pays for the building. And so now, this year, I can't tell you for sure how many we've sold. Somewhere around 10 or 12.
Wow.
Now, I do another thing a lot of people don't do. I teach the technology. And starting in '94, I started classes here in Texas. And I've had 2,500 people go through my classes, of which about 450 have built domes. Now the majority have built 1 dome or 2 domes for themselves. And a lot of them think, I don't want to work that hard. And but I've got 2 brothers that each have dome construction companies, and I have 3 other construction companies that are big, that build a lot of domes. And then I've got a bunch of smaller construction companies that build a few domes every year. I'm building a small village right now in Haiti. I say I'm building. One of the people that I've trained and teach is doing it daily. I'm just that they last. In Haiti, they've had another big hurricane hit recently. You go to where we built some orphanages and they're still standing. Everything else around it's gone.
So where, if you remember this, what brought the idea out to have an Airform and then spray it inward from the outside?
When I was in high school, there was a guy by the name of Buckminster Fuller. Started pushing geodesic domes. And he bragged about what they could do and da-da-da-da. And I followed him for about 10 years trying to make it work. And I finally gave up. Then I started my polyurethane foam business. When I started my polyurethane foam business, I wound up spraying a lot of potato storages. And most of the time, a potato storage was a metal building that I would go in and put 3 inches of urethane inside. Well, that proved to me that that was the insulation I wanted. But I didn't want to build a metal building. So then I thought, I can make a tent and inflate it. And that's when I built the first one in '75. And I hired an engineer to do the engineering for me. And I thought, boy, this is the way to go. And I built the first one there next to Shelley, just the next ways up there. And it was a potato storage. It was a 105-foot diameter dome. No argument at all whether or not, after I got it built, there was no argument whether or not I could do it.
Yeah, right.
And I inflated it. I sprayed the foam, duck suit, standard business. I hired a company in Salt Lake to come up and spray the concrete for me. After watching for 3 days, those guys couldn't figure out how to make it work and stuff. I bought their pump and sent them home. We sprayed the concrete. And Potato Magazine, the Idaho Potato Magazine, were out taking pictures and wrote a story about it. My next dome was in Michigan. A guy had read that article and seen the pictures. He wanted one. And I said, listen, Tiger, I got a foam business. Please, I want the concrete dome. And I said, I've never done business in Michigan. I don't know what it'd be like. He said, I'd like to buy it. And I said, I'll tell you what, wire me $5,000. Here's my bank account number. And as soon as I get it, I'll call you. And then I'll fly out and we'll talk about it. And if I don't see anything that'll bite me, I'll build your building. And that afternoon, I got a call from my banker, said, we just got $5,000 wired into your account. So I flew out. I had my own plane at that time, and I flew my plane out to Michigan, met with him, looked it over. Okay. At that time, I was peeling the Airform off and reusing it. So he got exactly the same size building. And from the time the first truck left till we were back, we were 17 days.
Wow.
Wow, that's fast.
I was amazed. He was amazed. We were all amazed that we built a dome in Michigan in 17 days. And when I got home, I decided, this is my business. And I had 8 foam machines and I sold 7 of them. And I built my mother a house next, and I built I started building domes. I knew I could build anything. And as I say, I built up to 300-foot diameters now. I'm going to move to 450 and then 600. If you put your hands like this, see here, this is that thick, but you put it back there and it's only that thick.
So is this about the size of your rentals then?
No. This is just what it looks like. Just I build a few of these just for fun. I can pick this up and move it.
Really?
See this one? A lot of my stuff is research. See how beautiful white this is?
Yeah.
And you see this one is white too?
So you could use it as a storage unit.
Uh-huh.
And they have those little wire things at the bottom for lifting them?
Uh-huh. Now, this one, I tried to make it insulated. And it has styrofoam pellets in it. I put a heat measuring device in the 3 of these and locked them up so that nobody could mess. And left them for 3 months in the hot summer. And this one was 18 degrees cooler than those 2.
Really?
Know why?
Why?
This white is not paint. This is lime.
Really?
Now, if you remember Huckleberry Finn
Yeah.
and his lime wash on
Yeah.
the fences, that's lime wash.
Really?
And what lime wash is ground up limestone. Now, over time, see that building right there is 26 years old. And that fabric will go. And if I don't do something with it soon, it will self-destruct from the sunshine. So this one is one of my experiments. That's ceramic tile that I put on the outside over the fabric.
Okay, so no ceramic tile, only porcelain tile. Porcelain tile won't break.
Here's another ceramic tile. And then if we look at the caterpillar, it's got metal sheets. I've done 100 buildings with the metal sheets.
And which one do you like best so far?
I got a real leaning towards the metal sheets. Because if you use good metal, you've got at least a 50-year without having to fool with it.
And so each one is custom.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You see all the gray on the floor?
Yeah.
That's just been cut out. See that? This is cut for your benefit.
Okay. My benefit. So will it
Go
ever
ahead and tear it.
try and tear it?
Wow.
Damage yourself.
Right? I could pull a shoulder, that's for sure. So
That's neat.
Long before you tear it.
And do you leave it in the form once the house is done, or do you peel it off?
Stays on.
It stays on.
Now, I've got some of this that's almost twice as thick. And I've got some that's about 4 times as thick. And this will allow me to build 600-foot domes. This is new to us this year. This is a cutting table. You can see they pulled the fabric down here. And it's got a computer. Tells it where to cut it. Cuts it out. One thing I wanted to show you. You look back here, up the ceiling. You see that air conditioner unit?
Uh-huh.
That's a 5-ton air conditioner in a building would normally take 35 to.
Yeah, it's pretty little for such a big building, right?
It takes two in this building.
Wow.
And see these lights? These lights are really efficient lights. And in the winter, we leave them on at night.
And it just keeps it from freezing in here? That's amazing. And you got a door open and it's still really warm in here.
Yeah. People there talking with him about these welders, the company that makes those welders. They're talking to him. See, these guys are welding those pieces together.
You use a welder to put the fabric together?
That's a radio frequency welder. There's about a little bit short of $1 million worth of equipment right there.
Wow.
Now, this welder has got, you see that bar that's there above their fingers?
Uh-huh.
That bar is only about that long. Now the welders was originally designed for welding big logs, but because we got curve in all of these things, we have to weld it in short pieces. Now, watch, it'll move ahead by itself. It'll set itself down. Now they're really fussy because they gotta line it all up. Sure.
How much does the fabric cost? It's gotta be so expensive.
That's pretty expensive. Now see the center dial there?
Uh-huh.
See how it's raised up?
Uh-huh.
And then it lowered down. It put 500 degrees into that fabric for just a little short time. And then it shut down, and then it gives it just a little bit of time for the oil in it to cool that off, so when it picks it up it doesn't pull them apart. And you just watch.
So it's a little bit tedious.
It's tedious and they have to really pay attention to what they're doing.
So when people do it themselves, do they still have to call you and order the
Airform
from you?
So
Because they wouldn't have the equipment to be able to.
No, they don't have that. The biggest Airforms we've made weighed 55,000 pounds each.
Holy cow.
that's why you need all the space in here to be able to get the forklifts
And a crane.
Really?
We're building Airforms now. It's an Airform over 3 domes. It covers all 3. Hooks up, picks up.
Wow.
So we're doing things that couldn't have been done a few years ago. This is my first office when I moved here. And I use it for my training center. So when people come and want to learn how to build domes, I teach them in here. Doug, I want to look at your lettuce. Is it available?
Yeah, you caught me in between cleaning.
Oh, wow. Aquaponics?
This is Doug Moore.
Wow, that's awesome.
Huge for gardening.
We do a lot of experimenting, and Doug is one of the experimenters. This building I've had for 5 years, just using it to test stuff.
That's spun rock.
Really? So
Yeah.
can you reuse them and reuse them and reuse them, or do you have to throw them away?
No, I just compost. I put them in my compost pile.
Really?
Where are y'all from?
Idaho.
Idaho.
Oh, that's an interesting door. That's cool.
I have a patent on that door.
You should.
It's the only door. This building is tornado safe,
Wow.
and I can build tornado safe airplane hangars with that door for 747s or little ones or whatever you want.
Did you see the door open and shut? That was pretty cool.
These guys are setting up a new foam machine. The last foam machine I built 45 years ago. My guys are getting tired of it. These tanks will go inside. We put the chemical in. This one will get an air compressor. And kind of hard to show you, but there's a spray concrete pump there that we built. I decided to build one that's more affordable. Most concrete pumps will start at $50,000 and go up, and I sell that for $12,000. Another thing that may be of interest to you, I build a lot of shapes besides round. It looks round, but this wall goes up straight, and then it gets flatter and flatter and flatter and flatter until it gets to the top. And up in that area, it's so flat that I've sprayed in brick beams to keep it from dipping.
Really?
And, so that's a different shape that I can build for different parts, different reasons. I make what I call oblate ellipses and prolate ellipses. This one is a spiral. To see some of this stuff.
Everybody has these.
Hi, Dad. I don't have much. What's yours? Can I call you back in a little bit? I'll do that. Thanks, sir. Okay.
And then this is your fence, your concrete fence.
That's my concrete fence.
And do you use forms?
I use a form, then I take the form off. And this is the best fence that's ever been around.
How well would it do with cows?
Huh?
How well would it do with cows?
Fine.
How well would it do with children? That's the big one.